What's going on, everyone? So today's video, I'm gonna take you guys to a house of crime that happened back in 1987 in Huntington Station, New York. Huntington Station is a town on the North Shore of Long Island in Suffolk County. And in 1987, a murder happened here between a man named Matthew Solomon and a woman named Lisa Solomon. They were newlyweds, and they got into an argument on Christmas Eve. And then Matthew ends up choking out Lisa, and then he dumps her body in the woods, and then they find her body later on during a search that took days, and they end up finding, I believe, carpet from his trunk in one of the bags that she was wrapped in, and as well as other evidence that you could read about. You can Google this story. It was I think it made national news, if I'm not mistaken. It definitely was known all over Long Island when it happened. It had a lot of news coverage and whatnot. So you could definitely go and look at, all the information in the whole case on its own online. That's all over the internet. But nobody has ever really taken anybody to the actual house, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to show you the actual house where she was murdered, and then after that, I'm going to attempt to look for where the 7-Eleven was that he walked to, that I think he was actually seen on surveillance also, to buy the garbage bags. And I'm going to probably show you the Huntington Hospital where Matthew Solomon ended up going to after he passed out from finding her body. So let's go over to Huntington, and I'm going to show you the actual house. So right now we are driving through Farmingdale to get there because we got to go to Huntington. And we are passing Adventureland on the right. They have just opened for the season recently. I think last weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Oh God, I love this place. So now we're in a little residential area of Huntington Station, and the streets are pretty narrow. There's no sidewalks, and all the houses are kind of close to each other. It's right down here. It's gonna be on the left. That is it right there. That is the house. So according to the courts, they lived on the top floor, and the landlord was on the bottom floor. And then the landlord on the bottom floor was able to hear the noise coming from upstairs when Matthew was strangling her. Because basically they were watching TV. It was Christmas Eve. They had like a lobster dinner supposedly. And then they ended up getting to an argument late at night. And she wanted to leave, I believe, and he didn't want her to leave. So then he ended up strangling her upstairs. And according to court documents, the landlord stated that she heard the struggle going on upstairs. And so what he ended up doing after he strangles her was he leaves here, walks to the nearest 7-Eleven, comes back, wraps her in 4 garbage bags, puts her in the trunk of the car that would have been parked in the driveway over here. And then he took her to Palaski Road and dumped her in the woods on the side of the road. But this is the actual house, and it looks pretty same, looks pretty much the same. And the way you could tell this is the house is because it looks a little different, but this house next to it and all archive footage and stuff like that from the news reports looks exactly the same. You can probably see it better from this angle. That house over there looks exactly the same. And there used to be a big tree like right here. Right there. No, it's a little one. But yeah, this is the house. Interesting. So this is New York Avenue right here. This is the nearest main road that's down the block from the Solomon's house. And I'm not sure if this is the actual 7-Eleven, but it's the nearest one that I was able to get to. But it's about half a mile down the block from the house. There are many places that were closer to the house on the main road that I feel like could have once been a 7-Eleven. So I'm not sure if this is the actual one or not, but this is the nearest 7-Eleven. This could be the one, but I don't know. I find it hard to imagine that he walked all the way to this one instead of walking to one that might have been nearer. So I'm not sure if this is the actual 7-Eleven he walked to buy the garbage bags, but it can be, so I'm just gonna capture it anyway. So late at night, after he kills her, he puts the body in the trunk. He would have came down this road, which is the nearest main road, New York Avenue, and he's gonna take this to Palaski Road. And what I think he's gonna do is make a left on Palaski Road, because I believe that's where the nearest like wooded area is. So that's where I'm going now. But he definitely would have came down this way to get to Palaski Road. Right here. Alright, so very soon it's going to become a pretty wooded area. And I believe this is where he dumped the body. If anybody knows the exact place where he dumped the body, that would be a big help, and let me know, because I will definitely go and sure visit it. And also, if you know any other details, like the exact 7-Eleven, where was the 7-Eleven? I'm thinking that 7-Eleven might have been that Taco Bell that was down the block from the house, but I'm not sure. But it was a standalone building that was right down the block. That was pretty close, so I'm thinking that might have been it. Unless it's the actual one, but here, as you can see, there's wooded areas coming up on both the left and right side. And I want to say he might have dumped it somewhere over here, if I had to guess. Whew. But this is Pulaski Road. I believe it was on this side, because this is the north side, and I think I read that it was the north side of Pulaski Road. And this is the south side over here. It's a very eerie feeling over here. I found her body somewhere over here. It's like a little patch of land right here. So the search team would have came over here and searched all this area. This is where they would find her. So he ends up coming to the scene. He tries to run up to her to see her, and somebody from the search team stopped him from getting to her. And they said he was hysterical and he had to go to Huntington Hospital because he was passing out and whatnot. But they said it was very good that that person did not allow him to get to her, because he would have contaminated the crime scene. And he would have said that's how his DNA got on her. So, yeah. He dumped it over here somewhere. If anybody knows the exact place, let me know. As I come down the road a little more, I didn't realize how far this stretch of land actually goes. He could have dumped her anywhere. I didn't realize how long this wooded area lasts. How long it goes on for. It's a little eerie to know, though, that somewhere over here is where he dumped the body. So this is Huntington Hospital, which is now Northwell Huntington Hospital. But this was the hospital that he went to. Northwell Huntington Hospital. And they would have came through here somewhere, because this is the emergency room. But after Matthew Solomon finds the body on the side of the road at Palaski Road, this is where the medics rush him to, because that jackass is acting like he didn't know she was dead. Meanwhile, he killed her. Here's the emergency room. So this is the north gate to the Northport Rural Cemetery. And I just noticed as I pulled up and parked over here that you could actually see her grave from the street. Right there. That's her picture on the tombstone. We're gonna go in and look right now. It's a sad story. You could actually watch documentaries about this story. There was one on a show called 1980s, The Worst Decade, or something like that. I remember I watched on Investigation Discovery. That was actually how I discovered this this case. And this is her grave. It's actually not that far from Huntington Hospital, but it is quite the distance from where they lived. And the crazy part about all this is that bastard will be up for parole if he didn't already get released on parole. I read something like that. Of course, her actual last name is Weaver. They're not gonna put his last name on here, understandably. Yeah, this is it. It's a nice cemetery. It's not a big cemetery, but it's nice and peaceful. And this is where we will conclude this video. Until next time, guys.